So we like to keep it pretty trendy here at Kittl. And one of the trends that Drew and I and Duda have been seeing is this pixel graphic design trend. Now, of course, there's like the 8-bit kind of retro video game or kind of like mythical emoji or like mythical cabin or mythical landscape kind of pixel art that a lot of people do with AI, or if you're really professional, you'll actually like illustrate it and then use some sort of pixelation plugin to make it look like that. That's like its own separate thing. I'm talking about specifically like pixel graphic design. And it's kind of found a nice fusion with a utilitarian plus pixelated elements. So we're gonna look at some references. We're gonna look at a design that I made. And also, as we're looking at these references, I want to break down a couple of the things that's going on in these. And if I can easily replicate it quickly, I'll jump over into my Kittl project and I'll just like do it in live time so I can show you how to do it, and then you can do it at home, and then we both win because you know how to do it now and you're watching the video, so we win, so we get watch time. And so we're gonna look at these nice designs here, and this is kind of what I'm talking about. This is very utilitarian. I also have a video on utilitarian graphic design that you can watch here, over here. It's over here. I think it's over there. But if you have seen that, or if you have seen utilitarian graphic design, you'll see a lot of similarities here in just the fact that it's very kind of parsed out. It's very even across the entire what you would consider to be the canvas. Everything is very balanced. If there's a lot of blank space in an area, then it makes it feel unbalanced. You're gonna fill that with an icon or some sort of graphic or another block of text that may be not needed, but you're gonna put it there to make sure that everything feels nice and tidy. So this is a great example right here. Actually, these first three are phenomenal examples. This is cool. This looks like to be some sort of animation, which definitely some inspiration could be taken from that. You could take one of those frames and turn it into a poster or something like that. This is a absolutely wonderful example of some pixel graphic design. Somebody looks like they've taken some Nike related marketing material and made it pixelated. I don't know if this was actually a Nike campaign. A lot of people just like to kind of use the Nike, logo and type in their kind of discovery of things on Behance, or like if they made a font, they'll make a Nike poster with it. And so it's kind of like parasite marketing. Like, let's say you make a hat that you brand as kind of a premium item, and then you put it next to a pair of like Golden Goose shoes, which are like $600 shoes. You're kind of taking from the reputability and the trust and the luxury of that brand by having your item associated with it. So that's what parasite marketing is. And I feel like that's kind of a little bit what's going on here, is somebody is showcasing their font alongside Nike's logo, which I'm not super sure of the legalities of that, but I'm not in a position to do anything about it. This is very cool. I've seen this before. I am not actually entirely sure how this person achieved this. I'm pretty sure that I could figure it out. There is some really cool things going on with the type, which is not necessarily what we're talking about here, but it does raise a good point. I didn't think about talking about this when I started the camera and started doing this video, but we can also talk about mixing some fonts together that are non-pixelated and pixelated to kind of create this vibe right here. For example, this, I would go into my Kittl project and I could use something like, let's just say, instrument serif, because it's that nice kind of 90s looking font. And what is this? We're gonna see what this says. Like running, invest now. So we're gonna do parts of this are gonna be pixelated and the other parts aren't. So we're gonna kind of parse out these phrases. Ike unning, that's really funny. Now that I have this, I can copy my text and find a nice pixel font that will pair with this. Maybe something like Bit Display or Crone Pixel. I could say, this, we wanna make sure that it looks about the same size. And you can mix some fonts together, and I think that they had a little bit closer letter spacing going on here, and that also very, very much contributes to that 90s nostalgia vibe. So something like that, like with mixed fonts, is pretty cool. I don't really have the time to get into that, but you could experiment with that. There's just a little bit of mixed fonts going on there. But the main thing that we're looking at in this poster is the pixelated nature. And this kind of half and half duo is actually a pretty cool take on it. And like I've said before, with Pinterest, you kind of have to like click through stuff to refine and refine and refine what you're looking for to get to the gold, right? So this is actually very, very interesting. And there's some stuff going on with color and very simple iconography with text. I would consider this pixel graphic design. And just because I've clicked on that, there are now more things that are showing that are vibrant in color and pixelated. So that literally, I just proved the point that if you want to find something and like kind of niche in and find things for like a Pinterest board or your mood boarding or whatnot, you don't have to find the perfect thing first. Just find whatever is the closest, click on that, and then you'll go down a trail of finding things that are closer and closer and closer. This, I'll actually try to demo this, is very, very interesting, and I like this. So what I would do to achieve something similar to that is I would go into the elements panel and find something like this. I might actually beef this up a little bit after I color it, but let's just say I wanted it to be red, and then I add a little bit of a border on it to kind of thicken it up a little bit. Also a little hack on its own, if you like the illustration that's going on, but it's a little thin, just add a little bit of a border weight and thicken up. So I'm going to quick export this as a PNG. We're gonna re-upload this back into Kittl, and so I've got what looks like to be carbon copies, but this one is the vector from Kittl and this one is the PNG. You can go down to the photo filters section and you can use this right here, which is Pixelate. Super cool. I very, very much love that. And if you want to even further get rid of, like, let's say you don't like the lighter parts because it's trying to interpret, very, very saturated versus not saturated parts of it, you could download this again, upload it, vectorize it, and then it'll either get rid of the lighter parts depending upon the way that you vectorize it, or you could vectorize it and tell it two colors, and it's going to give you both the light and the dark part, and you can just change both of them to red. But that is super cool. So pretty much any element you can make pixelated and then re-upload and then vectorize if you wanted it to be scalable. So like I could make this like a nice vivid purple and then export this as a PNG. Now I've re-uploaded this and then go down to photo filter and pixelate. So that's perfect. I could totally foresee me using that for like a sermon series graphic or something church related, or even not even church related. I mean, that's pretty fire. This pixelated trend could go like any direction essentially. Let's look at some other references. Here you can see again, we've got some like pixelated icon, pixelated font text going on here. So let's derail again and do that. So let's just say you were using something like a script like Kittl script and I want to beef this up a little bit and say, we'll just make the text pixel, text shading. Then what we can do is click the eraser tool to have this rasterized. So now it is raster and we can go to filters and pixelate this font. So you can make any font pixelated, just make a copy of it, because the issue is now it's raster and you can't edit the text anymore. So I would make a copy of your text, but if you're ever thinking, man, I love this font, like, oh, I love instrument serif, I'm going to click the eraser tool to rasterize it, exit out of the eraser tool, go down to photo filters and pixelate it, and boom, you have your pixelated font. Which, another good tip is that you can just type pixel into the typefaces panel and a lot of great fonts will come up. One of them being my favorite. This is Bit Nostalgic, which is literally, it's almost verbatim like instrument serif as a pixelated font. It's phenomenal. I would do the same thing with it. I would squish the letter spacing together and it would be like a digitalized version of a 90s trend, which is super great. Back to the references.
Back to the computer.
Another cool thing that I saw here was this, which is not very hard to achieve, right? So I've clicked on this and now there's another one of these. So let's say I wanted to do this kind of pixelated cutout thing. We are integrated with Unsplash, like most people know. I could take this photo, remove the background from it, and then go to photo filters and pixelate this. I could do this with pretty much, any photo. The tip here is make sure that you're using photos that it's very easy to remove the background from. Don't give the background remover a hard time when you're selecting photos that it's just very obviously the subject is not very isolated from the background. So same thing, photo filter, pixelate, that's super cool. You could put this on a black background and add some cool text. Could do something like this. This is where you can really get into just kind of a sandbox mode. And then, I could also do some fun stuff like this, like pull the saturation out and add some more text around this. And it's just very, very interesting. It's not a thing that's being very widely used. It is a trend, but it is something that I think we'll start to be seeing a lot more of. Let's go back to the references and see if we can find any other quirky techniques to mimic. And I'm not really seeing any more things that we haven't already kind of covered. So the techniques that we've learned so far are that you can basically transform any vector into pixel art by dragging the vector artwork over into your canvas, making it whatever color you want, and then downloading it as a PNG, then re-upload it and go to the photo editing part of the panel, and then turn that pixelation up. Then from that point, if you want to re-vectorize it, you can do that. Just my advice is that if you're going into it with the intent that you want it to end up being vector, download those PNGs as large as you possibly can. You don't want to download anything sub 1,000 by 1,000 pixels and then try to re-vectorize it. The vectorizer tool is trying to have to interpret something that's low resolution, and you want to give it the most high resolution thing that you can to be turned back into a vector. So that's one. The second one was that you can turn basically any font into a pixel font. Just act like you're going to erase it so it rasterizes the type, which we are working on just a quick rasterization feature where you can just click on the text and just boop and make it raster without having to fake erase it and then not erase it, and now which is kind of like a workaround for the time. But you can do that and then go down to the photo filters and pixelate your text there, and that looks like this. And then the last one is that you can do it with any photo you want, removed background or not removed background. It works really, really well with subjects that you can remove the background of, and so that's pretty awesome. Here is a nice example of a pixel design that I made before I started doing this video, and this is using that same Bit Nostalgic font. My favorite part about this font is that there is a regular and a liquid version of it. So the regular version is a little bit more clean cut lines, and then the liquid has some curving on some of the edges, and it kind of gives it a little bit more of a bleedy feel.
Oh, good. I hope it does. Bleed, bleed, bleed. Oh.
So what you're gonna see here is kind of a marriage between the pixel graphic design style and what Duda loves to call cybercore, which is kind of an homage to late 90s, early 2000s computer graphics, where they used to use a lot of drop shadow on stuff. And so you're adding pixel and drop shadow together to make it kind of feel like you're back in a early 2000s or a late 90s corporate office working on whatever Windows 99 or Microsoft 1 or whatever they were using at the time. And then all of these elements are actually from Kittl. I didn't have to download, re-upload, flip back sideways, flip-flop, dippy-dappy, anything. I just these are just already in Elements. So if I type in Pixelated, there's a ton, just an absolute massive library of pixel related things. This is a bust in here somewhere, I think. It's in here somewhere. But there's also pixel icons, which a lot of these are from this category right here. But there's just an endless library of pixelated imagery and illustrations and icons and literally anything that you would need to find to make pixel related graphic design is right here in the tool. So make sure to utilize the Pixel fonts by just going to the font panel and typing in Pixel. They'll all be laid out there for you. If you want to make it nostalgic, definitely try out this Bit Nostalgic font, and then you can just type Pixel in the Elements panel. And then colors wise, the trend is to kind of keep it a little bit monotoned, you know, 2 colors, maybe 3, but a lot of the designs that I see are kind of just like duotone. So like this could be black and purple. It's actually a little bit of an off black, but you could take this and make it like a nice cream color, or, you know, blue. I see that a lot, or a lighter color, pink. And so it's more like split tone stuff that looks like this is a little bit more of what I see. So that has been the pixelated graphic design trend. I hope this was helpful. Comment down below which one of the 3, hopefully new to you, tactics I showed you, which was 1, turning vector images from the library into pixelated designs. The second one was pixelating your fonts. And then the third one was pixelating images. You know, you can do it with cutouts or non-cutout images. So let me know which one of those 3 techniques is your favorite. While you're down there leaving a comment, make sure to like this video. And if you're not subscribed to the Kittl YouTube channel and you've been watching through this entire video, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I rarely watch through the entire video, especially when they start rambling at the end like I am right now, unless I am actually invested and subscribed to the channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we will see you in the next video.